So we'll have a recap of what we have done so far. In part A, we did the rectifier circuits. We first did a half-wave rectifier circuit, followed by we also did two full-wave rectifier circuits, one using two diodes, another one using a bridge rectifier circuit. That's what we did in part A. In part B, what we did was we did some experiments on an unregulated power supply. We used a capacity filter. What we did was we used a half-wave rectifier along with a 1000 microfarad capacitor as the filter, and we followed it by a full-wave rectifier, which was a two diode circuit with a 1000 microfarad capacitor as the filter. Now we made two major observations. One observation was we found that for the same value of the capacitor, the ripple voltage was higher for the half-wave rectifier circuit compared to the full-wave rectifier. That's one major observation we made. The second observation we made was whether it was half-wave rectifier or full-wave rectifier, the ripple voltage increased with the load current. So these were the two major observations we did from part B. So right now we will do some experiments, some demonstration of part C, which is essentially a regulated power supply. Now, before we talk about a regulated power supply, we need to understand what are the problems faced in general. Two major problems. One thing is we generally have input voltage fluctuations. This most of the time happens because of the supply voltage changing. Generally, it can happen. Like for example, in our country, the rated voltage is 230 volt, but you might have seen that during night time, the voltage can drop, and early morning the voltage can be very high. So based on that, the input to the regulator circuit can fluctuate. The other major variation is the load currents can change for a given input voltage. Assuming that the input voltage is same, the output currents can vary depending on the load resistance value. So these are the two major problems we would face in any unregulated power supply, or when we use a regulated power supply. These are the two major things to take care. So in a regulated power supply, your output voltage must stay constant, say reasonably well, for varying input voltages and also for varying load currents. In our lab, we have two solutions which are again used in practice. One solution, the solution number one, we would use a Zener diode as the regulator, a Zener diode circuit which we studied as the regulator. In the second case, we would use an even better regulator, which is a voltage regulator IC. So let's first look at the first solution, which is a Zener regulator circuit. So what we have here is a Zener regulator circuit which should give you nominally an output voltage of 12 volt. So the Zener is a 12 volt Zener, and in the circuit you will see that there is a series resistance which is called RS, and a current IS flows through that, and that current has two paths. A current IZ would flow through the Zener diode, and a current IL will flow through the load resistance. So when you talk about the design of the Zener regulator, let's see a few things. First, when we apply KCL, we see that IS must be equal to IZ plus IL at any instant. So let's take one very specific case which is very important for the regulator circuit. Assume that you remove the RL, or your output is open circuit, in which case IL is 0. And that case, what would happen is IS would be the same as IZ. And we know that if you model a Zener diode, the Zener diode can be modeled as the nominal Zener voltage and the series resistance. So in this particular case, what will happen is, if you are talking about modeling this particular 12 volt Zener, you can think of putting a 12 volt battery in series with roughly about say 100 ohms resistance. So you would see that as the current through the Zener path increases, the output voltage will also increase. So this is something very important. Now we also see that as we put an RL, a finite value of RL, you would see that you have an IL. So as IL keeps increasing, the current through the Zener will decrease. Now what is the limit? You would see that as you keep on increasing IL, or equivalently as you keep on decreasing RL, you would see that a point will come when IZ will be 0. Therefore, when you design RL, in the case of a Zener regulator circuit, there is a value of RL, a minimum value of RL below which you should not go. So how do we find that? That can be found out easily by writing a simple equation. So that would be V in times RL divided by RS plus RL should be greater than VZ. So if you can satisfy that condition, then you would always, you can assume that the Zener is an operation. So this is a very important aspect to remember when you design a Zener regulator circuit. Now what I have done here is, we have chosen some numbers. So what I have done is, we had assumed that our V in is about 20 volt, and I am also making an assumption that the current through IS, which is IZ plus IL, is about 20 milliamps. So once I know this, I can find out what is the value of RS. So that is the main design element in this Zener regulator circuit, the choice of RS. So we can choose RS as V in minus VZ divided by IS. So that comes to, so in this case I am putting it as 20 milliamps as the maximum current. Once I do that, I can find that I get a value of 0.4 kilo ohms, which is same as 400 ohms. Now let me tell you one very important thing to remember when you do an electronic circuit is, it's always good to express your resistance in kilo ohms. Why? When you divide a voltage by kilo ohm, your result will automatically be in milliamps. So this would make life very easy. So what I have done here is 20 minus 12 divided by 20, which is 8 divided by 20 milliamps, and because of this milliamps in the denominator, you will automatically get a kilo ohm on the numerator in the result. So we don't have a 400 ohms resistance, so you need to choose either a 390 ohms or a 470 ohms. As you know, you may be knowing that all values are not available, but these are standard values. So in this particular design, I have chosen RS to be 470 ohms. The moment I choose RS as 470 ohms, there is a limit on how low RL can be. So if you see, if you apply this previous equation we were talking about, you would see that RL happens to be 705 ohms. So we will see this in our design. So let's now look at the circuit and see what happens to the values. So what we'll see how the both the Zener regulator and the IC regulator circuit works. But before we do that, let me first show you the unregulated circuit. We were talking about the problems of the unregulated DC power supply. I want to show you that. So what I have here is the circuit we did in part B, a 2-diode full wave rectifier circuit. So I have the same circuit here. Now what I have done is, right now there is no load. So you see that the voltage is 25 volts. So I have put two digital multimeters. The one on the left side would show you the input voltage, and the one on the right side will show you the output of the regulator. In this case, both are same. So let's say roughly 25 volt is the voltage without any resistance. Now I am going to put a 22 kilo ohm resistor as the load of this unregulated power supply, and let's see what will happen. And you have seen that even for such a high value of resistance, the voltage has dropped immediately to about 24 volt. Now let me next put a 10 kilo ohm resistor. So you see that the voltage has still dropped below about 23.8 or 23.9 volt. Now let me bring it down to 1 kilo ohm. So you see that the voltage has dropped to 21.5. So if I make the load resistance even smaller, let me put 390 ohms and let's see what will happen. The voltage has become about 19 volt or around 18.9 or 19 volt. So this is the problem with an unregulated circuit, that the output voltage will keep on reducing with load. This is the problem with the unregulated circuit. Now what I am going to do is, I would use the Zener regulated circuit. We already saw the Zener 12 volt Zener circuit. So what I am going to do, I would just connect the Zener regulator, and you can see that as soon as I connected the Zener circuit itself, the voltage has dropped because of the you can see that we have a RS and the Zener. So right now I am just putting, so the input voltage is now 21 volts, and the right side multimeter is showing me the output voltage. So the output voltage will be maximum. So there is no load resistance here, therefore the output voltage will be maximum now, and that's about 12.7, and the input voltage is 21.7. So right now there is no load. So this would always be the highest value of V out. Now what I want to do is, I will put a 22 kilo ohm resistor, and let's see what will happen to the output voltage. And you see that when I put 22 kilo ohm also, the output voltage has not changed. It's almost the same. Let me now put a 10 kilo ohm resistance and see what happens to the output voltage. And you can see that the voltage is still same. So therefore the Zener regulator definitely is working well for these two values. Now let me put a 4.7K resistor as the load, which would be roughly about output current will be about roughly 3 milliamps. And you can see that there is a change in the second decimal point, but otherwise it's almost steady. It's a good regulator. Now let me put a 1 kilo ohm resistor. And you can see that the voltage has dropped to about 12.5 or about 12.4 volts. So the voltage has reduced. So this is exactly what we were saying. Now we also know that I should not put any load resistance less than 700 ohms. So let me put an 820 ohms resistance and see what we will get at the output. And you see that it's still working, 12.3. I am still getting, the Zener circuit is still working. Now what I want to do is, now next time I want to put a 560 ohms resistance and let me see what will happen. Let's see what will happen to the Zener regulator. Now you are able to see that the output voltage is now 11.6. Therefore, the Zener is not conducting. So therefore, you would see that hereafter any resistance which I put there, the output voltage will lower than this will be. So you would see that up to, we saw that for very large values up to about 1K resistance or load of, so that's about 12 milliamps, the Zener regulator worked very well. So this shows that a simple Zener regulated circuit is a reasonably good regulator provided your load currents are small. But if your load currents are large, we see that Zener regulator is not a good regulator circuit. Finally, we would see the 3-terminal voltage regulator IC, and we'll see, so what we saw just now, the Zener regulator, and we saw that it works reasonably well provided the load currents are small. Now the ultimate solution is to use an voltage regulator IC. So what we have here is 7812, which is a 3-terminal fixed voltage regulator, which means for input you can give anywhere from 14.5 to 30 volt. In some cases you can give up to 40 volt depending on the manufacturer. Your output voltage, they guarantee that it will be between 11.5 and 12.5, even if you are working from room temperature all the way to 100 degrees centigrade. And load currents can be anywhere up to 1 amp. So almost most of the applications, this is a fantastic solution. So this is a 3-terminal regulator. It has just 3 terminals: an input, a ground, and an output terminal. And you need to put a small capacitor, 1 microfarad or smaller, and that's all. It's very easy to use, and the IC is reasonably priced. It's typically it costs about 20-30 rupees. So it's a very, very good solution. Let's see how this particular regulator works for various loads. So what I have done here is I have connected the output of our unregulated supply directly to the 7412 regulated circuit. Right now there is no load. So RL is open, and the output voltage you see is that it is 11.92 volts. Now what I want to do is, let me keep putting loads and let's see what will happen to that volt. So input voltage is 23.7 and the IC regulator output is 11.92. Let me put a load. Now I am putting 22 kilo ohms, and you see that it does not make any difference. Let me now use a 10 kilo ohm resistance, and you would see that again nothing, as though nothing happened. Let me come all the way down to 1 kilo, because we saw that for the Zener regulator, when we used a 1 kilo ohm, the voltage dropped. Here no change, the voltage is still the same. Let me now come below. So we saw that last time we used 820 as the kind of the lowest value which we could use. So let me put 820 ohms here again. So I see there is no change, no change. Let me put 560 ohms which I used there, for which case the Zener regulator did not work. So let me use that, and let's see, you would see that no change. And let me go down, let me use 390 ohms, which would is about 40 milliamp is the current now. Even now there is no change. So we see that the regulator, so this is an excellent solution. So this is the ultimate solution. So what we learned from this particular lab demo is that the best solution is to use a voltage regulator IC. This is a fixed voltage regulator. You also get adjustable voltage regulators, both positive and negative. This was a positive regulator. If you want a negative 12 volt regulator, then the particular number is 7912. Similarly, you have adjustable positive voltage regulators, adjustable negative voltage regulators. So this would, we hope that this part A, part B and part C gave you a very good understanding of a DC power supply. What we expect you, all of you to do is when you come back to the campus, whenever you are back, we want all of you to do this experiment, at least some part, to get some hands-on experience on the instruments and also basic power supply. Because throughout your life, if you continue in this particular field, you will see that power supply is something very basic. What is used today in most of the equipment is switching mode power supply, like in your mobile charger, it's a switching mode power supply. But what we are talking about right now is what is called a linear power supply. So later, when in the theory you will study about switching mode power supply, you will see the difference. So, so good. We hope that you have learned the basic concepts of a DC power supply. Thank you.